is, because my feeling is that, especially when it comes to chopping, and we're going to do some freezing here, but that's actually that you're going to freeze before it's been cooked. And this recipe is one of my favorite. It's super clean, and I just have it on hand all the time. And I think when you can set yourself up to win, I say that all the time, to have things that are easy and really good for you on hand is just makes life just simpler. So what I did is I'm saving you all the chopping that I've done already, but I have a couple things I want to show you in case you're new to cabbage. This is half of the one cabbage. So basically I'm putting together one of the recipes, okay? So this is you'll see this core here. So all I'm going to do is I've cut the cabbage in half, then I'm going to cut it in half again. And then I'm just going to cut down and just cut this core out, okay? So there we go. And get rid of that. And then chopping cabbage, there's no science to it. Just go ahead and just cut it up. Doesn't have to be fancy. It's just getting it chopped up. Okay, right. Same thing with this one. I've already, let's see, yep, I did cut that one out. Okay. I apologize for the confusion, you guys, but we're going to get done in time. Okay, so this is another thing that's kind of neat when you have these cutting mats that are soft like this, is then you can just turn it over and just put it in the bowl. Now here's the other trick that I have. Okay, so this has already been washed, so and then I've already cut the ends, but this is a whole, I guess you would call these a bunch of celery. And I cut it off, rinse it, and then I just am going to chop the whole thing. It's been washed. You don't, those leaves and everything that are in there are just fine. So you're not wasting anything. And then this is going to get split between two bowls, because this recipe that you have makes two batches of soup. Now I did send Ashley, I think, the correction that I made a mistake on the one that you have, that when you shop, you're going to need two 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes, not one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide this celery. I've already got the carrots and the onion in each of these two things, in these two bowls. And then I'm going to show you this really neat trick for prepping. For prepping for the freezer. So these are the handiest things. They're these little stands, and you can get them on Amazon, of course. But there's also a website that if you guys are going to start prepping things for the freezer, especially if you have a family, having things that you can then just put in the crock pot or put in the Instant Pot, especially soups and different things. This one site, it's called The Family Freezer. I might have mentioned it before, I'm not sure. But that young lady, she really has, quite a nice site there. And anyway, so I think I bought these bags on Amazon. These are reusable freezer gallon bags. But until I got these, I just used regular freezer bags. So what I'm going to do now is take each of these ingredients. I'm going to put in the cabbage into the bag. Okay. Right. And then one of these. Okay. I'm going to shove it down there. And then I'm going to add my diced tomatoes. It's going to look like it's going to be a little tight, but you'll see, it'll be fine. Okay. And then I am just a big proponent of just seasoning of choice. This is what's nice about this, is you could go kind of a Mexican flavor if you wanted, either with a fajita seasoning or even a taco type seasoning. I've used, well, in fact, I think we used this in the last cooking class, this Kinder's blend. It's a salt, pepper, and garlic powder garlic blend, which I really like, but I'm using this. In fact, it's already in the Instant Pot there cooking. And I'm going to add it to this too, which is a savory herbs with roasted garlic seasoning. I don't know if you can see that with the light, that I got at Costco. It's a Weber brand. And I thought, well, this sounded really good. So that's what I'm going to use on these 2 batches that are going to go in the freezer. So I just kind of sprinkle, just kind of eyeball it. I think the recipe says what, a couple of tablespoons. Yeah, see, it doesn't even say. You just can kind of wing it. You're not going to really hurt it. And then you're going to mark on your bag, either with what I would suggest if you're using the reusable ones, you guys, is put a piece of like packing tape on this bag. That's what, because I know what's in here, I don't have to mark it anymore, but then you'll want to mark it. And what you want to do is say what it is, cabbage soup mix, and then you're going to want to put on there, add 1 quart of broth for cooking. So, okay, so anyway, so I got that closed, and most of the air is out. What I'll do is I'm going to kind of just press a little bit more air out of here. But this, like I did a double yesterday, I did this same thing, and I froze 1 bag, and then this in here was the second batch of the double batch, if you will. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead, you guys, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and put this one in too. But these little stands, you can, like I said, you can find them on Amazon. And here's what's nice is you can do them, you know, any height. So for your gallon to then down to your quart size. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead while we're here and, you know, if while I'm doing this, I mean, this is sort of just a little bit of manual labor here, but if you have any questions in the meantime, go ahead and ask me while we're going here if you have any questions.
I haven't looked at the recipe. Do you have it only set for the Instapot, or do you have it where like time for if you just do it in a Dutch oven or something?
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see what I don't.
It's Jill.
Oh, hi, Jill. Hi.
Hi.
Actually, I think I do have it on the recipe that if you're going to put it in your crock pot, you know, 6 hours, it might be finished in 4, depending, because I think a lot of our slow cookers vary. You're not going to hurt it. I mean, if it's in there for longer, it's not going to, you know, it's not going to hurt the soup. It'll be delicious. So that, or, you know, some people like to, you know, they're puttering in the kitchen, and you can do this on the stovetop. Just bring it to a simmer and just let it simmer till everything's nice and tender. But the Instant Pot is nice for me because it's quick. And then what I do then is cool it and either package it to, you know, because like I said, I always have it in my refrigerator to eat myself, or I will package it in individual Ziploc bags of the already cooked soup, which I think, I can't remember if I did that last year for you guys, where I showed how to package soup, where you just would put it, like pour it, you just portion your amount you would like for your lunch or dinner in a quart Ziploc freezer bag, and then press the air out, fold it in half. So it's like a flat, like, so it almost looks like an envelope, and then lay it on a cookie sheet or whatever. If you can put it in your freezer or something flat, let it freeze flat, and then you can tuck them anywhere in your freezer. It works great. So I'm going to get this because I went ahead and started doing some of the meatloaf recipes. I'm going to pull that out in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and get this in here so I can get my space cleaned off here. But like I said, this is like for seasonal wise. Your lemon pepper's delicious. Anything that just sounds good to you, that, you know, and is just the way to go. But I just love these reusable bags. They just wash beautifully, and they're just super. So now I will have the bag that I made yesterday that's already in the freezer, plus these 2. I'm set. I don't have to chop for a while. So, but I'm excited to show you guys this about the meatloaf and those things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set these over here, get these out of the way. Put those in the freezer in a minute. Okay, so now our next recipe, you guys, is it's a meatloaf recipe, but I make it into meatballs, meatloaf, and actually burgers. So, which is kind of nice because they're moister than just a regular plain burger. And it's a very simple recipe. Okay, so let me get this out so I can stay on track here. Okay, this is great. So what I did ahead of time before when we were getting ready is I went ahead. I'll show you this. I made a double recipe. So the recipe that you guys have is for 4, sorry, multitasking is for 2 pounds of meat. Okay, so here I've got some meatballs and also some hamburger type patties, if you will, okay? So the meat that I'm using for this is a 3-pack of this Costco organic ground beef. It's 85/15, which is basically like a ground chuck. Very flavorful. You can definitely use sirloin, and especially because this recipe using the tomato sauce, it will stay moist. So, but this is what I use. Each one of these packages is 21.44 ounces, 0.44 ounces, basically 1 3/4 pounds. So for all intents and purposes, this is 4 pounds of meat, close enough, okay? So I'm gonna pop this in the fridge because I wanted to show this to you, but I want to get it back in the fridge. So that's what I used. So I had made my mixture, and then before we popped on, I went ahead and made these, and then I've got Meatloaf. These little Silpat silicone muffin things are the best. When I first started my chef business, I think I was at TJ Maxx, and I had a square one that had 6 openings in it. And it was okay, but it was a pain in the neck to clean, where these little individuals are fabulous. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and made, you can see 6 burgers basically, and I'll show you how I made those. And then these 12 meatballs. So what I use for the meatballs is, and these are in my favorite tool kit, these cookie scoops. And I did the large cookie scoop this time. Sometimes I use the small ones. But what's nice is if you make these meatballs and cool them and freeze them and put them in a bag, then you can take them from frozen, put them in your crock pot with a nice marinara that you like, and put them on low and just let them go like while you're at work. Makes super easy. These the burgers, the same thing. It's sort of like maybe you want something that's shaped like a burger, and eat it on, make a lettuce wrap with it, or have it on, make a sandwich if you want with it. So anyway, so these I really love always having on hand, as well as the meatloaf. So what I decided I'm going to do today, just for the heck of it, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heat up my skillet, because I have another recipe that I make. It's called jalapeno blue cheese turkey burgers that I love. And they're baked, and and the ground turkey, it's also critical that those are cooked, to at least 165 degrees. Is I always brown them first, because then they just look better. And so like these burgers, they look nice, but I thought I'm going to see if I can brown them in here and then just finish them in the skillet, or just brown them and then finish them in the oven. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But what I am going to do is show you how.
Chef Liz,
Yes.
it's Christine. Not to get off track, but what was that you said? Jalapeno and blue cheese turkey?
Oh, I have a recipe, and I believe it's on my website. Jalapeno blue cheese turkey burgers. They're so good. They're so good.
They sound very good.
They're very good. They're very good. And I think I want to say that they are on my betterlifestylesolutions.com website. I'll have to look, but I'm happy to get that together and send it to you guys. It's really, really good.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to do that. Happy to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I don't want to make, I want to make more meatloaf. So I'm going to do 2 more meatloaves. I was going to do 4 more, but I'm going to do 2 more. So then, because these are really great for lunches for my husband, what I'll do is I will, after these are cooled, then I slice them and then put them in a little container, and then he can take them to work and make them, you know, a little open face sandwich or whatever. And these are just really delicious. But I'm excited to see how the brown burgers turn out while we're doing this. And then, okay, so other ideas for this, for utilizing something like this recipe. I always, and really, it doesn't matter what shape, whatever you have for doing this part. And that is, I buy a brand that's a gluten-free pizza. I think it's called Saba, starts with an S. You can get that information too, but it's a gluten-free 3-cheese pizza. And it is just delicious and very, very crispy crust. We like a really crispy, not a cauliflower crust, but it's a very, very crispy crust, which we really like, thin, but you can embellish the daylights out of them. It's really good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put these burgers in the bottom, or these, I'm sorry, meatloaves in the bottom oven. And these are gonna go in, for about, probably about 40 minutes. So I'm gonna set the timer for 40 minutes. Okay, so these now, so here's what I'm gonna do with these burgers, because I'm not sure you can really see me over at the stove, is I have this ring, and I apologize because I have no idea where I got this. I've had it forever. For all intents and purposes, it's like a tuna fish can without the top or the bottom. And I'm sure that there's, you know, something like this out there on Amazon. I'm almost positive, I'm sure. So when I make the jalapeno blue cheese burgers, this is how I do it. Is I just take my portion of what I'm going to add of the mix, and then I just form it, press it down in here. And I thought, well, this would be fun to see if this really makes these look even more burger-like than right here. And I'm going to make the, oh, this is perfect. This is going to make about 3. So you can see this 4 pounds, that 1 package of meat, which was basically, I think it was $19.99 for that. So it was, you know, reasonable. It's reasonable for an organic meat as far as cost goes. Okay, so, okay, one's a little bit thicker than the other, but we won't worry about that. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but anyway, so what I did is I just used that little mold, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put these on. And what I'll do with these is just get them browned on each side. So then they look kind of like a grilled burger. Turn them on the other side, and then I'll put them back on a baking sheet, which I'm going to get another one. Excuse me for leaving the room for a minute. And then I'll pop them in the oven to finish them. So another tip for the soup, I meant to say this earlier. When I put the broth in, it works beautifully with the quart, like I told you. I like mine actually a little tiny bit thicker. And so I use 3 cups of broth instead of 4. And another trick you can use, this is another great soup to have on hand. Again, you can get this at Costco. Trader Joe's has a fabulous one too. This roasted red pepper and tomato soup, delicious. And I think they also have one that's just tomato, but this is so good. So what I did one day when I was making the cabbage soup is I only had a couple of cups of bone broth, and I had some of this. So I put in 2 cups of bone broth and 1 cup of this. I'm sure you could probably use all of this if you wanted to, but it's just kind of a nice little switch up. So that's what I did not put this in this time. I just used the bone broth, but anywhere from 3 to 4 cups. If you don't want to worry about measuring out 3, put in the whole thing. It's fine. And you can actually thin it down more if you want to. In fact, I'll tell you what, the original recipe that I got, better pay attention, actually called for 2 quarts. And that would have been incredibly watery, I think. Okay, these look so good. Another hint too, when you guys are mixing up your meatloaf, let me show you these. Get yourself a pair of kitchen rubber gloves that you use specifically just when you're going to mix up things like meatloaf. Your bare hands are fine, but sometimes I get tired of just my hands feeling the food. And the gloves work great. I get them a little bit bigger than my normal sized hands, so they're not too tight, so I can get them off easily. I think somebody might be asking a question. Because I can't really read. Is that a question? Was there a question actually?
Sorry, I just commented about the Trader Joe's soup, the roasted red pepper. It's delicious, but I have it with, my kids love grilled cheese and tomato soup, so we make that for them all the time. And I have, someone turned me on to Havarti dill with the, for the adult grilled cheese and with that roasted tomato soup. It's
Oh my gosh, I just made, in fact, on my Facebook, I just said Sundays just scream grilled cheese and tomato soup. And
yeah, try it with the Havarti dill next time you do a grilled cheese. It's
I'm doing that.
delicious.
I made it on the Dave's Killer Bread, 21 grain with extra sharp cheddar, but I'm gonna get some of that Havarti dill. That sounds fabulous.
It is fabulous. Good.
Thank you for that tip. Okay, so you guys, these look so good. I'm gonna show them to you. They look more like, okay, like you just, maybe not quite like I just did them on the Traeger grill, but okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way. But you can see that from an aesthetic standpoint, that just gave them a really nice little look. And so they're still raw inside. And because this does have egg in it, that you would want to make sure that they were cooked all the way through. But I'm just gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven and wait till those come on out. Okay, so I just want to make sure I went over because I made some little notes about other things to do with this. Oh, so anyway, so back to our, like the meatballs, whatever, that cabbage soup. You could take some of these meatballs, put it in a, put it in the bowl and put your soup over it. For those meat eaters, they're going to have the meat in the soup. So it's just really trying to kind of use your imagination. I just want to make sure because I made some other, oh, another thing, all of this would be delicious cut up. I mean, I love cold meatloaf sandwiches. How about cutting up some of these, either the burger or the meatloaf or the meatballs and put it on a salad or make, let's see, adding into a sandwich or a wrap, of course. And just kind of looking for ways that you can incorporate things that you've made ahead. I mean, I'm so happy because now I've got all this food, which is really going to be nice. So I mean, if you guys have any questions, or I'd love to hear if you guys have specific ideas or challenges that I can maybe address.
I would just say that in the meatloaf is, well, both of them really, but by buying your tomatoes with different seasonings or switching your seasonings in both of these recipes would definitely change the flavor profile.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could use in that, just, for sure, Christine, in the soup, you could get the ones with basil, tomato, and oregano, or you could get the ones, the diced, Red Gold's got a beautiful selection. They have chili ready tomatoes. Absolutely. That's brilliant. It's just letting yourself think, how can I just change it up a bit for a different flavor and still have such a nice, clean soup?
Right. Well, and even the crackers, I know I like sociables and those kind of have the peppery flavor to them. But I think those would be great in this.
Absolutely. And, last week, I don't know if you're here or not last week, but the first one where I was showing you the Mary's Gone crackers for the topping for the making breadcrumbs, same thing. I meant to say that I used gluten-free crumbs this time in case, again, I'm, with somebody, then I know that these are fine, if you're at home. But absolutely, you could just make your own crackers, whatever sounds good, and go for it. Another thing I got at Costco, and it's not a gigantic savings, but I don't usually buy like tomato sauce in a case, but they had organic tomato sauce. It's lovely at Costco, Kirkland brand. And when I did the math, it ends up being about 59 cents a can. And I think it's about 69 and sometimes 79 cents a can, at least when I've been to the store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing too that I add into mine that isn't in the recipe, but made note to tell you guys is I love dried onion, the dehydrated onion.
Yes.
The minced onion. I added some of this in there too. Just, I think it was about, probably I would say in that recipe, the 2 pound, like a quarter of a cup or so would be great. But like anything, it's not baking, so it's not science. It's not, but
Right.
my new tip, I almost forgot, guys. Okay, so you've made up your mixture and you're not sure if the seasonings are right. Take a little spoonful of the raw, make a little ball, pop it in a little glass Pyrex or like a little souffle glass, something that's microwave safe. Pop it in the microwave for 20, 30 seconds, taste it. Tastes delicious, you're good to go. If it needs a little more of this, more seasoning, a little more salt, a little more pepper, whatever. You haven't made everything going, oh, gee, it's so bland. This way you can taste it ahead of time. Yeah, that was a big thing for me when I just figured that out. I mean, no one ever taught me that. Somehow I just figured it out one time. I thought, well, I'll just microwave a little piece and just taste it.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah, good. Good. Okay. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. The Instant Pot now is down to 13 minutes. So in 13 minutes, the soup would be finished. And I've got my, let's see, did I put these in here? Okay, I'm watching those. And I've got my things down there. They've got 30 minutes to go and then they're going to be finished. And you guys should all come over and eat.
Thanks, we'll be there. Liz, it's Michelle Gilbert. I don't think that I received the recipes yet. I'll reach out to whoever coordinated this and make sure I get them, but
Actually, does that.
okay.
It's in the chat as well. So if you go to the top of the chat, it's linked to there as well.
Okay. And actually, I know that I've got that, the jalapeno blue cheese turkey burger recipe. I will check if it's not on my site. I'll give you the information so people can find it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send that out because that does sound really good.
Right, right. And also on my site, there's tons of other recipes, lots of good soup recipes. And you can, instead of typing out betterlifestylesolutions.com, just lizgiesland.com takes you to the same place. And if they want to poke around there too.
Sounds good.
Good. Okay, well, I hope that, I'm sorry for the confusion this morning. I feel bad. I was ready.